In this video, I'll describe how to use and interpret the analysis tabs of REIkit. More specifically, I'll talk about where all of the different data points come from that generate the analysis numbers. So let's get started. First, the data entry fields. Most of the fields are common between the flip and wholesale tabs, with the exception of the wholesale tab, which also has a field for the wholesale assignment fee and is missing the financing and JV fields. Anytime that you enter data into a field, it will rerun all of the analysis calculations. So going back to the flip analysis tab, let's start with the purchase price field. The purchase price field data can come from one of two places. When you first create a project, the property is imported from Zillow, and it may have a listing price associated with it. In the tool, this is called the property price, and the property price is what the purchase price defaults to if you haven't entered a purchase price. You can see this reflected on the property details page. But since you rarely pay listing price, you would enter a purchase price based on the guidance provided to you on the right side of the analysis tab. You would enter a purchase price only after you have entered all of the other deal costs so that the offer guidance calculations can take those into account. So you see right now, with default data, the purchase price guidance for this property says we should pay around $417K, but that will change as we enter more refined data into the other fields. Your purchase price is thus what you plan on eventually offering on the property, regardless of current listing price. Now, sales price. If you don't enter a sales price, the default will be the adjusted ARV if one exists. You can also see this on the property details page. As you can see here, we have the adjusted ARV dollar amount and a pre-filled sales price that matches that amount. The adjusted ARV itself comes from the ARV Comps Adjustments page. So on the ARV page and Comps tab, you see the adjusted ARV here, which comes from the Adjustments tab by adjusting the feature values that you added for this neighborhood. Desired ROI. Here you should enter the target percentage ROI that you would like from your profit. Once you have all of your other analysis data entered, this is one lever that you can use to try to make the deal pencil. Your desired ROI also triggers the ROI-based purchase price offer guidance calculations. Holding time. You can enter holding days here or in the project costs page. There is no default for holding days, so you must enter it in order to have an accurate analysis. This should reflect all of the time between closing dates. So you should take into account your estimated time to rehab, your average days on market, as well as average closing times. I'm going to enter 280 days for this particular property. That's a pretty long time for a deal, but average days on market in this neighborhood often exceed 180 days, given that it's a vacation destination. Rehab costs. The rehab costs field data can come from one of three places in the following order of priority. 1. Like any of the other fields on this page, you can enter it here to override anything else. 2. The next place that it can come from is from the Quick Rehab Estimate Total, if you entered any data in that tab. And finally, 3. It can come from the Detailed Rehab Estimate if you entered any data there. So let me show you how it can work. We have created a detailed rehab estimate of $90,000 and change, and for the lack of any other overrides, that's the number that's used for rehab costs in the Analysis tab. If we were to create a quick rehab estimate, then the Analysis tab will use the quick estimate total instead. And like I said, we can always override the other estimates just by entering a number in the Analysis tab. This gives us a way to play around with the numbers while we're performing our deal analysis without affecting our actual estimates. The Rehab Contingency is a percentage of the rehab cost estimate that you should enter based on the construction and knowledge risk that you feel is inherent in this rehab project. So for an older property or a sight unseen project, you might bump this up to reflect that risk. And for a quick lipstick on a pig project, where there's little risk, you might reduce it to nearly nothing. The financing section shows the loan amounts for each of the loans added on the project costs page. If you have multiple loans, then multiple loan amounts will show up on the analysis. Finally, your profit split to partner is the percentage amount that you are going to pay your partner from the eventual profits. So let's go over the analysis summary. In the purchase price guidance, we have two numbers showing you how much to pay. One using the 70% rule and one reflecting your desired ROI. Using the default purchase price that comes from the sales price and all of the entries that we have made so far, we see that using the 70% rule we can offer as high as $408K, and using 15% ROI we can offer $410K. Our deal analysis shows that to execute this project we will need nearly $560K of cash. If we use $500K of financing as we have entered, then we need to come up with the other $59K out of pocket. At the end of the project, our JV partner is due 15%, which using these profit numbers is $14.5K, and we get the remaining 82 and change. Scrolling down to the summary data, we see all of the numbers that we have entered when we were analyzing the deal. So we have the purchase price, which is either the current property listing price or the price that we have entered from our guidance. We have purchase costs, which are the total of purchase costs from our project costs page. We have rehab costs, which come from one of the three different places mentioned earlier. And we have financing costs, which are from the financing section of the project costs page. On the financing side, these include all of the costs over the term of the loan plus any additional points. Total project costs are then the sum of purchase price, purchase costs, holding costs, financing costs, rehab costs, and the rehab contingency. They do not include sale costs. Financing refers to the amount that is being financed. And so, out-of-pocket costs are the project costs minus that financed amount. Your profit is determined by subtracting project costs and sale costs from the sales price or ARV. Your ROI is calculated to your holding period, and the rate of return is the annualized version of ROI using a 365-day period. Now let's do a brief overview of how the wholesale tab changes your approach. You basically perform the same analysis of a property when you're wholesaling it, except now the costs and profit and ROI are from the investor's point of view. That is, the purchase price is what the investor will pay, including the wholesale fee. As such, the offer guidance shows both what you should offer to the seller, as well as what you should offer the wholesale deal to investors for, including your wholesale fee. I hope you found this tutorial informative, and if you have any questions about the analysis page, please let me know at support@reikit.com.